Hello, 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 and welcome to Teachers Are Talking. I'm your host, Patricia. I want to go ahead and jump into the topic today because I had a situation that came about a few weeks ago. Well, actually, about a week and a half ago. And it led me to think about accountability. How are we held accountable in education? How are parents held accountable? How students held accountable? Teachers, administrators, even the district. My situation was a little girl that she was having a bad day, and she called me a bitch about 3 times, and she continued to say it, and then she kept saying, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say it," and then she said it again. "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say it, but big," and she said it again. I'm holding my composure. I'm trying to be as professional as I can. But then she said it again. And as a professional and as a teacher, we're supposed to take whatever's thrown at us and still keep our composure. It was one of those days, it was right before spring break, and kids are antsy, and we had about 15 teachers out, maybe not that many, but it felt like it. We had to split classes, so I had about 35, I think I had almost 40 kids in my room. And all I needed her to do was be quiet. And I asked her several times just to be quiet. And so after that happened and she said that, I bit my tongue and I looked at her and I'm like, oh, God. And then I finally said, "Okay, I got you, bitch. Go in the hallway. Go in the hallway." And for that, I was sent home. Well, let me go a little further. It wasn't so much for that, but it was because one of my fabulous students decided to record it and put it on social media. So now I'm really held accountable for what I said, because the only part they put was what I said. "I got your, go in the hallway." So since that happened, they decided, "Well, you were not professional enough. Ms. Thomas, you need to go home and think about this for a few days and go see the Office of Professional Standards and let them deal with this." So it made me think, okay, I'll accept, I said it, yes, I did, but what about her? Is she held accountable as well?
Right.
What about the students that filmed it? Are they being held accountable? Because I'm owning up to mine. I'm owning up to it. What about the administrators? What makes her think she has the right to do that and nothing's going to happen? Even when she was in the hallway, the administrator came up, and luckily I had a good one that was there. But what about from that standpoint all the way down? And then there was a few other things that happened the following week, and it made me think, this is an administrator. Why aren't they being held accountable? Or are they? Because there was a situation that popped up with them and nothing happened. So it just made me start thinking, and then other people in other professions were coming up to me and saying the same thing about their bosses and how, hey, they're making us do this and making us do that, but no one is being held accountable. So in my thought process, who's being held accountable and how do we measure this? How do we measure it? Is it fair? Is it not fair? What's too much? What's not enough? So I want to get into that conversation with some wonderful ladies today, that I believe we may be able to solve this situation. You think? Hope so. Or at least we'll have a good conversation about it. But I have some great ladies, like I said, and let's talk a little bit about this thing called accountability. And before we get started, introduce yourself. To my right, I have Terry here. Tell us what's been going on. It's been a couple of weeks since you've been on the show.
It's been a couple of weeks. Again, my name is Terry. I'm a single mom. I have a 14-year-old daughter. She's a freshman in high school. She participates in color guard, so we get kept pretty busy. As far as the accountability, were we going to finish introductions?
Wait, let's do introductions. Then we'll go back. We'll talk. But hold that thought.
Okay.
Don't forget. Hold that thought. All right. We have Miss Bria.
Yes,
Bria, what's going on?
Teacher Bree Miller. I'm coming here as a parent, as well as a teacher, as well as an aspiring administrator. So, yeah, I have.
So you're going to give us all points of view. Yes.
Yeah, all points of view.
Oh, and we say the best. I say the best for last. Miss Candy J. Y'all need to check out her show, Candyology. Now it is after hours, but it is it is a show you need to see. Candyology. Right after this one. It's 8?
It's 8.
She'll tell you about it, but Candyology. Candy, go ahead and tell me a little bit about yourself.
Thank you so much, Lady P. No. My name is Candy J, and I'm coming from the aspect of a teacher and someone that never wants to be an administrator for those very reasons we're going to talk about today. Yes, my show is at 8 p.m. Candyology, Sex, Love, and Relationships. Yes, from different aspects. So, yes.
All right, so let's get on back to accountability. So go ahead, Terry. We're going to start with the parents. We're going to talk about how parents are involved and how we always want parents involved.
Absolutely.
Because I know elementary, you have a parent there every day, all day. Parents volunteer. Parents are here. Parents are there. Parents on field trips. And get to middle school, they don't have parents.
I have
What?
one at every level. I have a kid in elementary, one in middle school, and one in high school. It's all different.
Yeah, but most of the time, middle school, they go ghost. It's like, what? Do you have a
Nah,
mom?
it's high school.
No.
They go ghost in high school.
No, high school they show back up.
Right.
They show up.
Because they want that
They
baby
want
to
to-
graduate.
Yeah. Exactly. They want the credits. They got to make sure. Middle school, we need a parent. Parents, we need PTA parents. Parents, are you here? We need fundraising parents. Don't
Right.
show up. Well, maybe you have a different experience. Just tell us a little bit.
Well, my experience, I'm always active with my daughter. Whatever she's doing, I am there. She will say, I see you too much because I'm always around. I have had teachers compliment me and say, oh my gosh, you emailed me, you called me first. I'm like, yeah, because I want to know what's going on, and I know my child is not going to tell me everything. So to get compliments like that, it's like I'm appreciative, but it's not doing anything for me. Now, if a teacher tries to discipline my daughter, okay, that's fine. But if it's still not working and her attitude hasn't changed, then at that point, I think you need to call me so I can handle it myself.
Right.
If you keep trying, and her attitude's not getting any better, what makes you think your way is going to work? A parent can whip a child's ass. We can discipline them. You're going to see some change. But that's only if the parent is active in the child's life. If they're not active, it's not going to work.
Right.
So it's a level of respect, responsibility, accountability, and just love. Because honestly, I don't see that many parents actually loving their children the way they should. And their kids, unfortunately,
But
What do you mean by loving their kids? Go a little deeper on that. What you mean?
spending quality time. Give them a hug, give them a kiss. They're going to get pushed away.
Right.
But you got to keep trying.
You're saying even as they get older.
Even as they get older. Even to this day, before I leave work, every morning, I kiss my daughter goodbye. One, you don't know what's going to happen when they go to school. There's so many kids getting shot or bringing weapons and getting in fights. You just don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
Therefore, I'm going to make sure she knows that I love her.
Right.
So if that's the last time I see her, she can die saying, my mother loved me.
right.
Some kids, they don't get that at home. Some of her friends don't get that at home. They're like, oh man, your mom is cool. She actually kicks it with you. That's what you're supposed to do. So, with your situation as far as the child not being respectful, yes, everybody has to take responsibility for their actions.
Right.
It's unfortunate that child got you out of character and you were, you had to take time off a little bit.
A little vacation.
Just a little vacation. It's not the kind of vacation you wanted to and not when you wanted to.
True.
But it's a little vacation. We all need it. So if you had to go, you had to go.
Yeah.
But the kids have to take responsibility and accountability for their actions. But then again, where's the parents? What did the parents do? I know if I called my teacher a bitch and my parents were called, I'm practically dead. That's just how it is.
Right.
It's not going to happen again, but she shouldn't have said it 3 times to where you got out of character. Now, the kid that was recording, there shouldn't have been a cell phone available for them to do that. You may have to take a new rule and take up cell phones, something. But they need to be held because they actually put you on
Right.
social media without your permission.
Right.
Isn't there some kind of law that they have to abide by? Just like I know teachers,
Is
you can't.
there?
Well, teachers can't record kids and put
Right.
it on social
Right.
media.
That's
Right?
true. We have to get permission.
Right. So how come they didn't have permission to put you on? So where's the accountability for that? So
And I've never seen any law about that. I mean, never in the
Yeah.
guidelines or anything about
There's-
a
there needs
student
to be
putting
one.
me on social media. But I have all kinds of rules saying I can't put you on social
Exactly.
media. I can't take your photo.
Right.
I can't do
No,
any
exactly.
of those
Right.
things,
Exactly.
right?
so
Without
there needs to be
permission.
one for that.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So accountability for everybody.
And that probably will start at the administration level, as far as switching or turning that around and saying, hey, even teachers are not permitted. If your teacher does not give you permission, you
Right.
cannot use your phones. But then that may come back on us and saying, why do you allow phones in your room?
Right.
Well, see, it just depends too
But it
because
depends.
I'm in a district that is BYOB or BYOD.
What-
So bring your own device.
Oh,
So
okay.
for me in my classroom, we're heavy on device use, but
Right.
I have guidelines. If we're not using it right now, I don't need to see it because
Right.
I will take it.
Right.
And
Right.
then I will, if your parent comes here, and I will let them know that I told you not to have it out and that I did take it.
Right.
And it's in the office.
Right.
You're ready to come get it.
Right.
You know, and I make it clear from the very beginning with the parents is that, I mean, with the kids is that I'm not afraid to talk to a parent.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of teachers are. You
Yes,
know,
they are.
They are afraid of the confrontation.
Yep.
They're afraid of, oh, I'm going to lose my relationship with the student.
Wow.
But if you have never developed that relationship with the student, there's no relationship to lose.
Right,
Exactly.
I agree with that. You said that there are teachers that are afraid to call home.
Yes.
They are afraid of the confrontation.
Serious?
Yes.
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 I haven't ran into that.
And the
but-
students know it. The students
Oh, yeah.
know
They
that.
do. They do.
Go ahead, Candy.
Tag
Go,
me and tag me.
go ahead, Candy.
So I work at a district that's also BYOD, but going back to that afraid to call the parent. So I have a teacher. I have 2 of them actually. One is new, first year teacher, and the other one is a veteran. 8 years in the game. Okay.
That's veteran, especially if it's middle school.
Right.
You know that counts as dog years, 7 years per year.
So listen, y'all. I'm not afraid to call your parents. I don't care. But it's all, there's been conversations beforehand.
Right.
There's been consequences beforehand before I'm calling your parents.
Exactly.
Right? So these 2 particular teachers, neither one of them wants to call anybody's parents. They say, Miss Jackson, can you call for me? No, Miss Jackson got 5,000 other things to do besides calling a parent at the moment. When the incident
Right.
didn't happen in my classroom, it happened in
your
your
classroom.
classroom, right?
Exactly.
They don't want to have anything to do with calling the parent.
And you know what part of that is? It's because the first phone call is the negative phone call. You have to make sure you can make those positive phone calls first.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
And so
I agree.
The relationship is all the way around.
Right.
I never want my first conversation with a parent to be something bad,
Right.
Even if it is.
Right. You
then
start out
off with
positive.
something positive.
Right.
You know, like in your particular case, you know, had it went to the point where you actually got on the phone with the student's parents, you would say, you know, she's probably a leader because first of all, she got everybody looking around. She
You
had
have to
somebody.
say she's not.
But they had enough. They had enough for her. They had enough for her to them pull out a phone. So obviously they knew something was about to happen.
Exactly.
Well, what we're trying to, we're thinking that it was a setup, and because it happened in another room where the kids was trying to get matter of fact, that same week they had 4 people go home because we think the kids were planning that, and they were doing
And
little things.
I love those challenges.
Yeah, And so they went in another classroom, and it wasn't social media this time. It was, oh, he told us to get the F up out of his room and this and that. And the teacher didn't even say it. He just said, hey, step outside the door.
Were they the same kids or different kids?
This was a different group, but they all talk.
Right.
They all talk.
Students be talking too.
Yeah.
So listen, I got to this district in December, and it's 6th grade, right? So I have 3 classes. 2 of the classes love me. Miss Jackson's great, blah blah blah. That last class could not stand my guts. Nah, the feeling
You
was
always
mutual.
get one. Yeah, you always get one.
But they had made a pact. We're gonna get Miss Jackson fired, and they was trying to get the other 2 classes to get in on it. And so word got to me because there were several students in the class that really liked me, and they were like, Miss Jackson, let me tell you what's going on.
Right.
And so I went to the other group and I said, oh, so you're trying to get me fired, huh? Oh, that's so sweet. I love y'all too. And I told the administrator, and the administrator had my back on everything. But that's not always the case.
Exactly. You guys, I think you may want to jump in on this conversation. Call us at 203-802-5694. That's 203-802-5694. Give us a call. True. As far as administrators, the administrator that handled it initially was, Miss Thomas, don't worry about it. We're going to go in the office, we'll talk about it, and we'll have a discussion, and, you'll sign a piece of paper. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Another administrator got a hold to it and said, oh, no, that makes my campus look bad. No. And so.
Wait, did you make the campus look bad? Or the situation?
The situation.
Because if that's the case, then it started from the top. Because what, in my opinion, what have you set in place to
prevent
or to head off? Because it's not, and even if you can't, prevent it from happening, how you handle it also tells what type of campus you have.
Exactly.
So them sending you home may not look good for them because of them, because that's the decision that they made.
Especially if it continued to happen.
Right.
If it
Because
tried to happen like previous times.
They're allowing these kids to have teachers sent home.
Right, because
the kids are running the school.
It was that week, I believe it was 3 of us that had to go visit that office.
And then, like you say, you took responsibility on your part.
Oh yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
Because as I've been in situations where it was a high stress situation, and I was able to keep my composure until I was by myself.
Right.
Maybe I went and had a drink or something later, but
always the case. That seems to always be the case for teachers.
But I mean, when you take your responsibility on your part, then yes, I do agree. I also agree that everybody else has to be held accountable as well. And it really it should be focused on how the administrators handle it on the other side. Okay, they discipline you,
Right.
but what about
happens to the
the
students?
student?
Right.
The parents should have immediately been called.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
There has to be some type of a consequence.
Right. Exactly.
But the thing is, what kind of punishment were they getting previously? Because they attempted this numerous times with other teachers. Because obviously what they're doing is not keeping the kids from wanting to try again.
Right.
And are the administrators afraid of the parents? That's a
Exactly.
huge one.
Absolutely.
You know what? How can I say it?
Don't say
Don't say it. That was a general statement. No, we don't need no more problems.
Right.
But just a general statement, like I said, I'm coming from my studies as an aspiring administrator, because I was like her, like y'all not gonna give me but as long as you set the tone in the beginning,
Right.
even if you're coming in a situation where I'm coming in at a school that she was previously, and hearing a lot of different sides of that, being a new person on campus, I'm seeing the change. I'm seeing, okay, why it was like this, and this person was here, and now I'm seeing the change. And now there's a lot of stuff that still need to be fixed and need to be worked on.
Right.
But I see a lot of the progress, and it's coming from the top. It's coming from the relationship from the administrator, the relationship they have with the APs and the APs, where everybody has a autonomy.
Right.
We have to all have each other's back, even
Right.
if we're wrong. At that
Right.
point,
Right.
let me have your back right now, but then we're gonna talk
Right.
about
Absolutely.
how we fix this in the future. You know
right.
what I mean?
Right. Right. Because the funny part, I wasn't sure how to feel when I got back. So the next day when I got back on campus, because I took a day, I did take one, because they called, the Office of Professional Standards called me.
So official.
Yeah, Office of Professional Standards. They called me the next day and they said, you can go back to campus. You're just tired. We understand. You're stressed. You're tired. And they said that this should have been handled on campus.
Right.
Absolutely.
And he was like, I'm glad we met. I hate we met in this capacity, but just go back to campus, and I don't see you as a threat. I don't see you as a person that's trying to hurt anyone. He was like, you just seem like a calm person. I said, well, I am. Yes, I am. And he said, just go back and just wait it out, because you have about a week till spring break. And I said, I sure will. So the next day I took off, because I have to get my mind right. Like I have to, I had to get myself back together. And so I finally went back the following day, and once I got back, I saw so much support from all the teachers. And 99% of them were saying, we're sorry. This should not have happened to you, because a lot of them have to handle the kids, because we have a very rough group of kids. And they were saying, this should have happened to us. This could have been us. And it made them fix what they were doing in their classroom. And it made all of us at the entire campus fix the problem with electronics, because we're another campus that you have to have electronics, because everything we do, you have to have some type of device. But as far as cell phones, no cell phones in my room. If you do not have your Chromebook, you're just out of luck. I'm sorry, because I'm not taking that chance again. And someone say something else, and who knows what may happen.
Right.
And then it looks like it's a pattern on me.
And then at the same time, you don't have to be afraid. I think sometimes teachers, I know, speaking for myself, I've been afraid to involve the administrators. Like the first week I was there, I had a boy, he got suspended, but it wasn't me. It was a lot of things that he was doing.
Right.
And then that was just like the last straw for them.
Right.
You know what I mean? But at first it was like, man, I really don't want to call and feel like I'm weak or I can't handle my classroom or anything like that. And I think sometimes there's a reservation with getting administrators involved.
Right.
Well, now I'm just like, well, you keep coming back to class. I'm gonna keep calling until we get this right.
Right.
And if I have to get on their nerves, your mom and daddy nerves, or whatever, we gonna do
We're gonna get it
something.
fixed.
Because you can't come in here and keep everybody else from learning because you don't want to be here. If you don't want to be here, your parents, they're just like, well, I sent them to school and you should be doing this and that. Look, if you can't get your child to do what they need to do here at school, then they need to be at home with you.
Right.
You know what? That brings up a good point. What do we do with those kids that they legitimately do not want to be there and don't care? How do we hold them accountable?
Documentation.
A lot of documentation, but I think it's difficult with the laws being the way they are. They always say the students have to be at school. But what if students don't need to be at school? If a parent takes their kid out for so many days, what's that, truancy? Then, they go to court and all that stuff. But if the kid is just too bad and they need to be homeschooled, or sometimes they send them to alternative school, but that's only for a couple of weeks, a month, it depends on the offense. So you can't do too much of anything without going to court about it.
So in that situation, like I said, documentation, it's almost like you're developing IEP for a student.
Right.
You make documentation. I moved this student, that didn't work. I put them with a partner, that didn't work. I document, I had to do this, I had to say this, I had to do this, the student did this and didn't do this. You know, you make all that, then you take it to your department or your administration. At this point, they should be getting together almost like a behavior intervention plan.
Right.
That it should escalate to that, and if that doesn't work, then that's where they put them in a behavior unit, or they go take it a step further. So it's not just this kid may just really have some issues. It may not just be they don't care. It's that we don't know. Maybe something's going on at home. They have a real issue. But you keep your documentation, you keep your paper trail. So it's not just you feel like, because I know I felt like, man, I really feel like I'm giving up on this kid.
Right.
Or I'm just throwing him away.
Right.
And I'm coming from, my son had he was diagnosed emotional disturbed and oppositional defiance disorder.
Right.
And it was all just due to stress. I went through a really bad divorce, and he was there for all of it, and he had like a true issue. But I mean, from pre-K to kindergarten, he jumped on his teacher's back in kindergarten. Like, it was a lot of stuff that he had going on.
Right.
And it wasn't that I wasn't a good parent.
Right.
He just had something that he really had going on, and we had to go through, getting him a counselor and doing all this stuff. But where teachers were kind of just throwing him away.
Right. Go ahead, Ken.
Oh no, I was just going to say, being the type of teacher that I am, I take the time out to try to get to know my students and figure out what's going on. So the difference between a student having a bad day and a student just literally just doesn't want to be there.
Right.
And so like things like that, emotionally disturbed. What was the teacher doing though? Like you said, were you documenting what's happening? Were you contacting the parent? Were you contacting the counselor to figure out what was happening with this child? Because again, like, I don't want to throw away any child. I have a child. I have a child right now. Every single day she walks in my room.
We all have that one. I have one too. First period.
And I thought, wait,
first period.
And y'all know I'm crunk anyway. But I always have to be like, oh, okay. So, but then it goes from Miss Jackson to, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm sorry. But every single day I try to talk to her. Before I ever write her up, I talk to her. I've submitted things to the counselor.
Right.
This baby's got something going on. Her uncle passed away. Her aunt passed away. Her mama passed away.
Ooh.
So she got things going on.
Right.
But you still can't make a big scene in my classroom every single day.
Right.
So it's a lot going on.
Yeah. I see, the child that my love bug that I have first period that's like that. She just feels that connection with me because I show her love, but then I show her tough love at times. And it got to the point, the days that I wasn't there, they said she would sit at my door saying, because we eat breakfast in the classroom. And so she would sit at my door and say, I need to eat breakfast in this room. I have to eat breakfast in this room. I'm not going to your classroom. I'm not going with the substitute. I have to sit in here. And they couldn't understand it. So everyone wants to write her up, but me and her have that connection. I already know, hey, bring 10 down, bring it down 10 notches. And so they got to the point, they would let her go just sit in the room, eat her breakfast, and then she would leave out, and then she would feel like then she's fine, and she would go to the room that she needed to go in. But it took fighting. It took a little write-up. It took her cussing them out because, they didn't understand her, and they didn't understand all of this extra. But her parents, she actually has both parents. She just feels that bond and connection. She's just a little extra, a lot extra.
She should be stressed.
And
Kids
maybe
stressed out.
And maybe she feels like she can't talk to her parents either. Because I know I was that child. I couldn't talk to my mama about nothing. And my mama kept me away from my dad a lot. So I didn't have that person to talk to. So I would latch on to a teacher, and I was that child. Oh no, Miss Fletcher's not here. Wait a minute. I'm just saying.
So that's you, huh? Yeah.
It was always me. And so that's also why I'm the type of teacher that I am.
Right.
Because you make those connections and that bond.
Exactly.
But my question to you is, did they ask you what the connection was? Why, when you were out, why she would do these things? Did they have a conversation with you?
Well, this is the thing about my first period. I am the only person that is really allowed in my first period because not my choice. The students would not allow anyone. They set that barrier up at the beginning of the school year. They do not want to talk to anybody but me. They do not want to see anyone but me. They will deal with a sub if I send them a message. I had to set up remind, and I have to send them a message to let them know I will be out this day. I have about 8 really tough kids, and that is a bad combination for any other teacher. But for some reason, with me, it kind of works. I don't get much teaching done because most of the time I'm teaching social skills of how we need to behave. But I have about 7 teachers in my section. They ran every last one of them off. To the point, one teacher emailed me and apologizing, saying, "I'm sorry, I messed up. I should not have gone in your classroom. I would not go back in there again." Yeah, they're tough. When I say they're tough, I start off first period tough. It's tough. And all the rest of the teachers, if I'm running a few minutes late, hey, where you at? You in the parking lot? You almost here? Because they're sitting in the hallway like, where Miss Thomas? I'm not going in there.
Yeah, and I was just gonna say, it come back to the kids. They spend most of their waking hours with us, so for us, it's almost like it's home.
Right.
You know.
Right.
Because we don't know what they have going on outside of the school hours. You know?
Right.
And sometimes it's just, I gotta get through my day with this teacher. I used to have a kid who would come and see me every morning. He had so many problems when he was in the previous grade, but he would come see me every morning, and we'd make a deal. How's today gonna go?
Right.
He'd check in after school.
Right.
Was it good? Was it okay? Was it bad? He come in and he's like, you know, and so we have a secret handshake and
right.
his prizes and stuff. And when he finally came to me at the next grade level, I didn't see any of those behaviors he
right.
had before.
Yeah.
So it's relationships.
Yeah.
Right. And back to what she was saying, you bring positivity. When you bring
Right.
kids positivity and you're cool, calm, and collective, and you give them a chance, they're going to latch on to you.
That's true.
Other teachers, some of them, I've even experienced them in my life, they go from 0 to 100 real quick, and they want to get rid of you as soon as possible because you're going to create a problem and mess up their whole day. Versus teachers who are nice and calm, you need that.
That's
You're
true.
already stressed at home, you're stressed with your friends, you're stressed with your grades. You need somebody who's going to be like, you cool, you calm, you're not gonna call me names, you're not gonna look at me crazy.
No,
You just
I
cool.
might look at them crazy.
Oh, you know.
They deserve it. I won't lie on that. I may
It
have
depends
to
on
look
what
at
they
them
say.
crazy.
But it
Exactly.
depends on what they say and what they do before you start looking at
Well,
them.
yeah.
crazy.
With this dynamics,
Right.
this group, I have to. Hey,
Right.
check yourself.
And you would think your other coworkers would see, you're not popping off on them as soon as they walk through the door.
No.
And therefore they're like, what's the secret? You just gotta remain calm.
Yeah. Right. Very calm.
And that's the cohesiveness of the team. It's just like, it's so important. Even if it's
Yes.
just one person, you have to find somebody that we can.
Right.
Exactly.
If we stand in the hall, we look at each other.
And we
like,
already know.
"Girl,
Man."
Say.
let me speak to this. Hands down, we were on the same team together. It was was it 7 of us? It was 7 of us. And not all of us liked each other.
Right.
We had 2 that we just might not But when it comes to the kids, we were a united front. I could stand down that hallway and be like, "Hey, you got this one today
Yeah.
for me?" 'Cause,
Right.
Be
Right.
like, go.
right.
I'm standing here.
She had her crazy kids that
Right.
would come to me, and I
Right.
had mine. It worked.
We actually, my team came up with this thing. We would say, go get the Billabong. Go to Miss Thomas. Go to Mr. Such and Such and get the Billabong. Billabong is nothing. So when they come to your room and they say, Mr. Such and Such said I need to come get the Billabong. Okay, hold on, baby. Let me look for that real quick. Sit down over here. And
Yeah.
so you act like you would be,
Time out.
yeah.
And I think mine and another teacher's was some kind of Sharpie set. It was like, we need the Sharpie set. And then just, hold on, baby,
Hold on,
just
sit right here.
And they be sitting there like,
Okay.
do you have the Sharpie set?
Yeah.
And it's like 30 minutes
Yeah.
later. I'm like,
Oh, I forgot.
just don't tell I don't have it.
And the bad thing is they never figure it out.
No, and
No.
and see, and it depends on if they come in, they still acting up. I don't have it. Go check with Miss Such and Such. I think she has it. Then they go
Right.
sit in there for another few minutes, and they don't catch on. They never do.
And then one time I wrote a note on a little piece of paper and I stapled it all the way around. And I said, go take this to the front office.
Right.
And then it says, hold the student. Like,
Hey, whatever it takes.
Whatever works. Whatever works.
Oh, that's good. That's so true. That's oh gosh. You know, let's talk about. We don't have to actually dig into Star, but I know it's around the corner. Y'all ready?
No.
No.
I don't have to start test this year, so
What?
Yeah.
I'm in middle school science, 6 and 7.
Look. Oh, that's all
Yes,
right.
Lord.
That's all right. Lucky you. You lucky.
English teacher.
Yes,
does
English
not-
teacher. Yes,
Right.
right here.
We never get a break.
No, never. No break. But, you know, we measure our kids and we measure them by their grades. We measure them by, that tells how we are successful as a teacher. And then it tells how the administration, how effective the administration was.
Right.
But how do we bring in the parents to take on some of this burden as well? Because a lot of times, you know, we're saying grades do that, but is it always the grades?
I was just saying, the work needs to go home because it's too much work. You're trying to get in the requirements for the curriculum and you're trying to get them ready for the STAR test. And that's a lot of pressure and a lot of stress. Been there, done that. Oh my gosh. Oh, I can tell you some stories about that growing up. But the only way you're going to really be able to do it is if you get the parents involved.
Right.
And take some of the stuff home. Because I've even tried to look at practice tests for my daughter to take. And when she looks at it, she's like, already did it. I'm like, what you mean you already did it? It's previous work that, you know, what is the practice test that they have to do throughout the whole school?
Benchmark.
Benchmark, right.
Yeah.
They use the past test for the benchmarks.
Right,
And so
right.
I'm like, I need new material to show her so she can work on it.
Right.
There's no new material.
No, it's
So
not.
it's like, teachers can only do so much. Parents at that point can only do so much. So it's like, who do we get to get new information to try to help these kids?
That's good.
That's true. Well, coming from the parent's perspective, of course, I have one in elementary, one in middle school, one in high school. I'm pretty good with elementary, middle school. My high school baby, we struggle because it's almost like I have to teach myself how to do this
Right.
stuff over again.
Right.
And I think it's very important that if we're expecting the parents to help, we need to send something home for the parents to, you know, either watch like videos. I use the flip method a lot, where I send home videos or links to videos for the kids to watch before they come to the next class, so that they can go back and watch it over and over. But parents can go and watch it and try to figure it out. And then also, I know in my previous districts, we actually invited the parents out. Could it be a lot better? I think it could be a lot better and a lot more frequent, because, you know, I don't know how often the parents would actually come,
Right.
but I think it should be more opportunities for them to do that.
Right.
Because that's really
The key.
the key, because the parents are just like, I want to help my baby, but I don't know this new age man.
Right.
Like all these making these boxes and lines and slants, and I
Right.
just know the old school way. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so,
What can we do to make that better? How can we improve that? I mean, for parents.
for one thing, that whole teaching to STAR, I'm not doing that anymore. Even if I have to do the STAR test or whatever, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm going back to where I was taught. Like, yes, I'll teach the new ways of doing it, but these strategies shouldn't just be just when it's time for benchmark, or
Right.
just when it's boot camp times, or we
Right,
teach
right.
them during the STAR. Every day there should be some type of just a question. Not even have to be multiple choice. Just a question. Now you
Right.
explain to me how you got this answer,
Mm-hmm.
and then that way you know that when you don't see it that way, you know that one is not the answer, and it's not just I see all these questions and these answer choices, and I'm just gonna choose one because it's stressing me out.
Right. Yeah, because at one point I did teach. Well, at this point of the year, I do teach my students. I take away the answers.
Mm-hmm.
I just give them the passage or whatever they're reading, and I give them the answer. I mean the question. Now you have to go find it. But how do we? But as far as parents don't know to do that.
Exactly. And growing up, I did not pass the test a lot. Not until the 10th grade when the STAR test, well, back then it was like the TOS test back then. Since I needed help and I was struggling on all levels, they used to pull me out of my main classes and took me to the other classes, and they didn't just give me the test again. They went back over the questions I missed and made sure I understood why I missed it. But now they're not taking students out that I'm aware of to actually go back through it. They'll have to be like, okay, well, you didn't pass the first time, so you're going to take it the second time. Don't pass it the second time, you got to go to summer school. After summer school, then you have to take it again. If you don't pass then guess what? You got to repeat your grade. Unless the teacher says, you make good grades, you're a good student, we're going to go ahead and push you forward. So it's one of those, what other methods other than just keep taking it before they actually sit down with kids and let them understand why they missed what they missed.
Can I jump in for a second real quick?
Sure, I guess so, Kenny.
I'm sorry, but no, it was actually it's a good question. So, I mean, Patricia, you said you had some success with your students. Is it possible that maybe you could share that success with the parents?
I do.
So that you do?
I do. I actually, when I have my parents, I normally send something home to them or I call, and I have a classroom set up online that they check.
Okay, gotcha.
And I have different things that I put on there that they use at home.
Right.
And a lot of times it's a magazine, and I have them. Okay, here's a magazine, and here's some just sample questions that you can ask your kids, because most of the things that the kids don't get for reading is inference.
Across the board.
Across the board,
inference.
across all grade levels.
And those are simple things that you can help them to start learning how to think that way, because a lot of them do not know how to think that way. So I actually do have like little snippets that they can use for them, but it's a point of them using it.
Yeah. One thing that I used to use. One thing I used to use is that like real world situations, like kids, like they talk about how they get in trouble. We used to have that conversation quite a bit.
All the time.
So I would just walk in and just tell them like a little story about if one of my kids got in trouble about something or in the past. I would just start talking to them about the situation, and I just would explain to them, I was shaking and I was sweating, and I was just, I couldn't understand why my child was doing this and blah, 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 blah. How do you think I was feeling? And then they were just like, were you mad? I said, well, what makes you think I was mad?
Right.
So it's just like, if you being consistent on those type of things, kids, I feel like they'll start just thinking about that all the time instead of, because I still do have very bad test anxiety.
Yeah.
Very
that's another
smart,
thing.
you know what I mean? But it's the stress of it, and the kids when they get that big old packet with all those questions, and it's a lot.
It is.
So I feel like if we are able to get them ready for that, not make it to where it's so
Formula.
redundant.
It's a lot of pressure.
Like you said, magazine, and my teacher brain went. We can get some real actual magazine articles and create questions for those magazine articles. But as far as like the parents answering the question, it's just gonna be some training, because unfortunately sometimes we don't use it, we lose it, especially with that type of stuff.
But the thing is, playing devil's advocate for a moment.
Go ahead.
Think about the fact that you're an awesome parent. I have heard that through and through in both conversations that I've had with you. But think about those parents that don't.
Right.
They don't. And I'll
Just
take
say
this
it. Let it out. Let it out. Let's go.
They
Let
don't
it out.
care.
Teachers are talking. Teachers are
They
talking.
don't care enough about those
Right.
students to say, okay, well, I'm gonna go and look up these different strategies for them to do it. I've already done the practices. No, you ain't. Because there's 2015 and 2016,
2013.
You can go all the way back with your kids because they have not done those for that grade. They could possibly have done all the ones for the grade level, but
Right.
they don't care.
They don't care.
Right.
And so how can I can keep hitting it.
Right.
If you don't care, then I can't reach that student
Right.
in that capacity.
And
Right.
that's that get on their nerves.
Uh-huh.
I'm calling you. We've gone on this. It seems like they're still not getting it. I need you
Right.
to come in. We need to meet. And because well, I don't have time and I don't have time. But
Yeah, baby's gonna
you
fail.
just took little Johnny to I shouldn't
Chuck
say
E.
Little Johnny.
Cheese.
You just took baby to Six Flags and bought them brand new Jordans and everything.
And little Johnny didn't earn them.
Yeah,
Jordans.
those $250
$250
Jordans
He up here
with no
fighting
pencil.
about it, and he's very passionate about keeping those shoes
Yeah.
clean.
Huh.
Why we can't
cleaning
get
them.
passionate about him getting understanding his words?
Exactly.
So I'm gonna call you every week when we test. He failed another test, so I need you to come in so that we can work together on helping him. And we're gonna keep meeting until something happens.
Right.
For a while, and then after a while, I just break it down to the parent. If this isn't enough, if it's too inconvenient for you, I'm just gonna move on. And maybe we can try it again next year. I
And you said you want things to come home, but what if you're in a district that don't want you to give homework, and that's considered homework?
Exactly.
Well, that's-
Exactly.
And I've seen some kids where the teachers are like, I'm finna call your mom. And the students are like, go ahead,
Go
call
ahead.
mom.
Go ahead.
Call
Call
My
mom.
mom was gonna curse
Let
you
me
out before
tell-
she cursed me out, and guess what?
Yeah.
They do.
And
And I'm
I-
like, what are you cursing out the teacher for? They're
Yes.
just trying to let you know what's going on.
Right.
and see me, I'm that type of person. Like, do you feel better? You got Alright, so here's the deal. I'm glad I understand your concern, but still, this is where we are. And if you're telling me that you not on board, then
Right.
and then documentation.
Exactly. Because I have one student. Well, I have several. But this particular lug bug, he's 16 and he's in the 8th grade.
Whoa.
And he turns.
I'm like, time out here. Wait. Let's back it up just a little bit. Time out.
Yes.
Time out.
Question?
16?
Yes.
Eighth
yes.
grade.
8th grade. Well, he corrected me. He turned 16 next week.
It don't matter.
Yes, that's
Still
what I
in the
told
eighth
him.
grade.
That's what I told him.
By the time you're 16, you should be almost walking the stage. What, junior?
Just
Going on
about,
high
yeah, just about, yeah, just about.
Sophomore, junior.
Yeah, just about, yeah. But he's, we've called mom. Mom now sends us straight to voicemail. Because we first semester. Yes, I need to talk to you. Oh, you hung up? Okay, that's okay. I'm sorry. Was that a disconnect? Oh, we had a bad line. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you know? And we would do it every period because he told us, I don't have to do this work because they're going to social promote me. I'm not doing anything.
Question.
Yes, ma'am.
I doubt this is in the rule books or anything like that, but at what point, when you get that age and you're that far behind, can you say, you know what, screw it? Can we just test you to see if you can get your GED and get out?
Well, they do have programs where normally by the time second semester, they normally send them out. So in junior high, they normally send them on to high school. He refused to go. Mom didn't force him to go.
Wait.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Is there a law that they say something?
It's the third time, I believe.
Yeah,
Something
and
like that.
so my thing.
They repeat the
Hold
grade.
that question.
They gotta push me.
He loves the little girl. So every time I make sure that you holding such and such hand. Oh, Mom, did you know that your daughter is actively, she has a friend that is currently 16. You may want to check that. Yeah, because I don't want that on my conscience, that a 16-year-old little boy is messing with these 12, 13, 14-year-old girls.
Because by the time he gets into the 9th, maybe 10th grade, he's going to be 18. He can't, technically, by the law, he can't talk or date to anybody younger than him.
Correct.
Or that's statutory rape.
Right. And see, part of that, he doesn't want to go to high school because now he's held accountable.
He
In
can't
middle
test
school,
out.
he can't test. I mean, he's refusing. He's refusing to go, and
He
mom
just gotta
is
go.
not pushing it.
That's,
I mean,
Because as a parent, I would not feel comfortable with my 14-year-old daughter being in the same class as, by the law, a grown person.
oh yeah, he was grown. He was grown.
See, I ain't saying a word.
That's just a whole nother conversation.
Right. A whole nother conversation.
Yes,
Another
yes.
question, another question,
Yeah.
another question.
That moves beyond. That's way up there in
But-
the chain. Like,
That's the accountability. Who is responsible for this? Who's responsible? I mean, because we're telling him, hey, let's get you out. We can get you to where you need to be, and we can give you extra credit. We can give you stuff to help you get there. We were going to even give him, because he's smart. Oh, he is talented.
but couldn't that be something like neglect? Couldn't she be held accountable
Oh.
for neglect?
Since she would not answer our call, she can. We set it up where he cannot return to school until we meet with the parent. So she came during a time that we were not available as teachers, but she met with the administrator, the person that I am. Can you hold my class? Someone held my class. I ran down the stairs, and he was standing there, the student. He said, "Mom, this is my English teacher. This is Miss Thomas." She didn't even turn around. She stood there, she stopped, and she kept walking. He said, Mom, this is my English teacher. Right then and there I knew, okay, this is a parent that doesn't care. This is a parent that's all about herself.
She just want to send him somewhere so she could be free.
Exactly. And now
Keep him busy.
I had his sister the year before. She's on grade level. She's smart as well. All of them are smart. Every child she has, very intelligent. But mom, to me, like you said, that is neglect. Because why would you let that boy stay there, and a boy stay there with those little girls that he's in love with, and put yourself in a situation where you may have court.
Oh, you're gonna have
Even
court.
not even social. Like, how do you just let your child just
Do nothing.
Go by the wayside?
Yeah.
Especially when you have your other kids who are trying and doing well. At what point do you step in and say, "Look, you better get it together. You gotta go." Like,
She's
or not go,
it's
but
our
show it.
fault.
Right.
That was that.
They play the blame.
Yes.
All the time.
Yes.
It's your fault that he's dyslexic.
Yeah.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
It's your fault he can't read. It's your fault that
Yeah.
he
They
acts up in his
understand.
classroom.
Yeah.
Because it's your classroom management.
Yeah.
Well, why all my other children, my 22 children, can sit down and do their work?
And how much time do you spend at home with your child?
Right.
Exactly.
Oh,
she
oh,
didn't
those are
spend
the ones
much.
that don't answer the
Because
She
phone.
already zero.
She worked at night and she slept
Okay,
during
she
the
still
day.
got the day.
I said she slept during the day.
And they don't understand that we are our kids' first teachers. We teach them how to walk. We teach them how to talk. We teach them how to. I mean, we should be teaching them how to read.
Right.
They learn how to tap on the iPad and all that other stuff. Like,
too.
why can't they learn how to do that and learn something else?
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't. That's the being a teacher and a parent is just like when I talk to some of my friends and they're just like they don't understand that importance. Like, well, I'm sending my child to school and I'm sending them to school for it. You're sending them to school to get that paper. That don't mean that you don't teach them anything else when they come home.
Right.
You teach them how to be respectful. You teach them how to go out in the world and set goals and
Right.
and hold themselves accountable and be like there's a lot you teach them.
Right.
And my son and I sit down at the house all the time to the point where he pushes the book away from me now and says, "I can read. Don't read, Mama. I can read." And I'm like, wait a minute.
Exactly.
But it's instead he knows that I'm going to sit down and I'm going to work with those phonics for him.
Right.
He's learning ABCs and colors and shapes and all those kinds of things. But that doesn't stop just because they went to middle school. That doesn't stop because they get to high school.
Right.
And it's not just the teacher's
My
responsibility.
mom called me today. Baby, did you pay that bill?
doesn't. But if that's not, I guess if it's not instilled in you, and someone did not put it in you, and I think a lot of it with a lot of the parents we have today, we have a lot of very, very, very young parents.
Yes.
We have parents that started at 14, then they had a baby at 14, and then and that cycle keep going on, and all you're raising are friends
Right.
Yep.
and a doll, because it's just a doll. It's cute.
Yeah.
But you haven't learned how to raise someone. You haven't learned how to produce a productive person for society.
Because they weren't productive themselves.
Right. Because they were still trying to get out of
It's repeated
middle school.
history.
And it's just
It's repeated
excuses. It's
history.
just, everybody wants to blame everybody else, but at some point you just have to say, you know what, I'm going to take responsibility. I want my child to be better than what I am.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah. This is a great conversation.
We need a part 2.
I know.
I'm over here like,
I'm ready.
Right.
We may have to do we may have to do a part 2 to this. Y'all down for a part 2?
Absolutely.
You know I'm absolutely.
and I'm a nerd. I'm going to bring some research and some stuff. We're going to have some numbers.
Exactly. Well, I think we're going to continue this conversation and take it a little step further, because this is really good. And I think as parents, as educators, as administrators, this accountability piece, it doesn't stop. And it doesn't just go to me, myself, and I, but we pass the torch to each other, and we each have to carry that torch.
Right.
And we have to learn, what is my part to make. We're trying to produce this. We're trying to produce people that are ready for society.
Right.
And if we keep that goal in mind, that hey, this person is eventually one day will have to be out here giving me medication. Maybe this person may have to give me a shot. But if we're not giving those things, social skills and certain things that they need, we're missing out on a whole generation.
Absolutely.
We're going to lose an entire generation because they've missed out on basic skills. And I think we all just have to learn just to carry our torch and do our part, and each hold ourselves accountable for what we need to do. But ladies, I've appreciated and loved this conversation. Y'all check out Candy. Don't forget, check out Candy.
I know. I'm like, I'm just sitting right
Matter of fact, I'm staying for the show myself. I'm staying for the show. What time's your show?
8 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Today, y'all.
Tonight's conversations about situationships.
Ooh, all right. Y'all, we have other shows. You may want to check out 50 Shades with Jay on Fridays. And that's at 7 p.m., 8 p.m. Great show. We have Trouble on the Air on Tuesdays. On the Spot. We have On the Spot every other Wednesday. We have, Dollar Propaganda. That's on Thursdays. That's right. Dollar Propaganda. So there's a lot of great things we have going on here at KMWI Media. So check us out. Stay tuned. And this is Teachers Are Talking, and we appreciate you. Thank you.